Oh no. You've been rejected at one or more MBA programs that you'd love to attend. You're feeling down, disappointed, frustrated, and maybe a tad humiliated. You know that the competition is very, very intense, but still, this is tough. You'll make a great business person once you get through business school. But of course, in order to get through it, you got to get into it. And you really don't want this rejection to stop you from going to a top MBA program or pursuing the career that you'd love to pursue. You're right, and you have every right to be disappointed and frustrated and somewhat disheartened. But what you have to do now, unfortunately or fortunately, is pick yourself up and move on. Figure out how to reapply successfully at this point in time. You're not going to B-school yet, but I'd like to change the not yet to now by telling you how to approach the reapplication process successfully. How do I know how to reapply? I'm the founder and president of Accepted, which I founded over 20 years ago. And I've been helping and guiding MBA applicants and reapplicants to success for that entire period of time. If you've been recently rejected by a top MBA program, then you need to change your approach in order to have different results. Same old will probably result in the same old result. You know what happened with your last application. Let's imagine a different outcome. One where you're accepted, one where you get that large packet telling you what you can expect and lots of forms to fill out and probably plenty of swag. And an outcome where you're now looking forward to your MBA experience, meeting a whole new circle of friends and developing a whole new professional network. And let's also start to discuss what you need to do to achieve that other outcome. Well, there are three things you need to do. One, you need to evaluate what went wrong. That's step number one. Perhaps you weren't competitive at your target program. Perhaps you failed to present yourself effectively. Perhaps you were a victim of the numbers or some combination. One of those four factors is the reason you got rejected. There's no other possibility really. So let's go through the four. What do you need to change? If you weren't competitive, that's the first possibility. If you weren't competitive, you either need to change your qualifications and improve them, or you need to change the schools that you were applying to. Second possibility was that you failed to present your qualifications effectively. If that's the case, then, well, you need to improve your presentation, the presentation of your qualifications. That's something that we'd be delighted to help you with. But whether you work with us or you don't work with us, that's something that must improve if you want a different outcome. The third possibility is that you're from a very, very overrepresented group in the applicant pool. Competition is extraordinarily intense for people just like you. And you were a victim of the numbers. You could have been competitive. You could have even done a reasonably good job in presentation, and you were still rejected. That is a possibility. It is rarely the only cause of rejection. It usually is a cause in conjunction with the second one. In other words, you didn't present yourself. You didn't individuate yourself effectively in your application. And then four is a combination of the first three. And if you determine that all three were at play in your rejection, then guess what, folks? You got to improve and change all three. All right, so the first step one was figure out what went wrong. 2, fix it. And then 3, reapply successfully. That's very easy for me to say, but it's not so easy to do. It's extraordinarily difficult to be objective about the application that you worked so hard on last time. Most MBA applicants lack the objectivity, and they certainly lack the experience to do a good job of assessing where they went wrong. Don't make that mistake, since it is so terribly difficult to do. You're now at a decision point. You can continue down the do-it-yourself path that you went last year, which unfortunately led to rejection, or for your professional future, you can have a professional assist you in the next step, which is reapplication. So again, in terms of step number 1, that's assessment. That's just figuring out what went wrong. That's something that we would be very happy to help you with, and we have a service called Rejection Review that's there for that purpose. Now, what do we do with Rejection Review? We take the rejected application, and you work with either a highly experienced admissions consultant and or a former admissions director who would review your application and tell you things about it that would lead to rejection and provide you with some suggestions as to how to improve it. Realize that our consultants can provide you with the expertise, the experience, and the objectivity that there's no way you yourself can have. Now, if Rejection Review just gave you that objectivity that you can't have because you're just too close, frankly, it'd be worth the money you spent on it. If rejection review just gave you the assessment you need, right, what went wrong, it would be worth far more than the money you're going to spend on it, because it could save you reapplication or getting in at a less than optimal school. And if rejection review just would save you time, because you're not going to have to do all the research that you would otherwise have to do on your own, it would more than pay for itself. But in fact, rejection review does all those things, and therefore it's quite the bargain. All right, so here's what I'd like you to do to get a rejection review and get and access the expertise, the objectivity, and the experience that you just can't have. Go to accepted.com/MBA review, access rejection review for yourself, and then apply in a different way. Make the changes that lead to acceptance. Then you can put rejection in your rear view mirror and go from confusion to insight, from humiliation to pride, and from rejection to yes, I'm in.